Well, happy day, everyone. This is Dr. Hank, and welcome to Agent Wealth Network. This is the place where agents and brokers learn how to grow their business and grow their wealth. And every week we have just somebody that's special, but today is even more special. And we have Kathleen Black. She's a coaching and consulting agent. Actually, she was a top producing real estate agent in Canada, and she helps agents in order to grow their team, grow their business. And so, good morning, Kathleen. And how are you this fine day?
Good morning. I am fantastic. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and connect with the audience and hopefully share some fun stuff. Have a good time, some valuable tips.
Well, fantastic. We indeed will have a good time, and and I'm looking forward to that. And so let's start out first by you're in Canada, and so maybe the question is I have a large audience in the United States, and so is real estate business kind of the same? And where are you in Canada? And kind of tell us a little about the Canada side.
Yeah, for sure. Well, our company is located just east of Toronto, so we call Greater Toronto area. I mean, Toronto's a city now. We have clients though throughout Canada, into the US. It definitely, I specialize in helping agents, increase production, but our niche is team development. So I'd say, in the team world, there's some differences in the business models that have become a little bit more prevalent in the Canadian market versus US. But the real estate market overall, I went to do, I was kind of fascinated because I went to do training in Manhattan. And initially I thought, okay, this seems interesting, to bring our training program that we use with top teams to Manhattan market. You would think it would be opposite, but we actually have 52,000 agents on the Toronto Real Estate Board. It's the largest real estate board in North America. And that's so we have pretty extreme competition in our market, and that's where the majority of our teams have grown. So I was actually surprised by how similar our training systems adapted very well in Manhattan. And in fact, they were working on getting exclusivity with clients because it's still very much so an open market of have the seller, have the buyer, and have to bring both together, and you're kind of left with nothing, right? Not securing an exclusive listing or buyer. So I'd say no, very, very similar overall for how real estate's played out. You guys have a few more responsibilities. Pardon me, after the deal is after the deal is firm, before it closes, whereas our side, the lawyers help us out with a few extra things.
Oh, I see. Okay, good. Well, sometimes that's good or sometimes bad having those attorneys in there.
Yes.
And so what I love about what happened with you is you became the top producing real estate agent, but also team. And so I'd like to really talk about two things. And I think that one of the areas where you really are the master in real estate is converting leads into clients and that conversion rate. And we've all have had challenges with that. And can you help us a little bit? We'll talk about how to build a team then too afterwards, but can you tell us on what are some of your secrets that you use in order to do that conversion and get those leads into a client and then a closing?
Well, at end of the day, I think the same secrets. I don't think it's a secret if you're not using it, right? But those are secrets. Things we already know and do not use are secrets to ourselves. But
I like that.
But I think, the end of the day, I think where I've interesting enough, everything I've always worked on in mindset, like I believe in mindset mastery, the importance of it. And at the end of the day, having power when it comes to our mindset, our state, our outlook, our intentions, what we pay attention to, those are the exact same gifts and tools that allow us to be masters of conversion. And I truly believe those of us who have studied and understand, intention, attention, the ability to have kind of laser focus, which we hear all the time with top producers in real estate. Those are the exact same skill set that allow us to master conversion. And what I mean by that is if I have an understanding of, a step-by-step process of how to engage with people, how to build relationships, and a process that goes beyond mirrors. I'm really big in training in how do we get into windows, right? Because mirrors are all about the world is exactly how I am. Everyone wants me to speak to them, the way I want to be spoken to, you know, the golden rule kind of thing. And I find that the masters in conversion have an understanding that I need to expand well beyond myself. I need to be able to communicate in a way that is going to be well received by the majority of the population versus, you know, some of us have very specific personality styles, or Myers-Briggs if you study that. And I know for mine, I mean, for a woman with my Myers-Briggs, it's under 1% of the population. So if I'm going to show up with my values, my processing, my market share is out the window. Like my ability to do well is very limited. So for us, we're really looking, or our model, our coaching consulting company, is to have an understanding of how can I speak to others in a way that, you know, old school, but 100% what's in it for them. But on top of that, how do I say it in a way that all personalities will be engaged in it, interested in it? How can I value my time? And how can I realize, again, that if I'm having trouble with, you know, others valuing my time or not wanting to be loyal to my services, that I'm still in that mirror world, because they're mirroring back to me maybe, you know, a lack of confidence, or I find for agents right now, a lack of understanding of, hey, where do we fit? What is our value, you know?
Right. And if I can just interject there, that mindset is definitely the name of the game. And you brought that up, that it's this mindset. And, you know, scientists in the last 5 years have identified and all agreed upon for the first time ever, neurologists and microbiologists, all of the scientists have come together and they say this, that our experience, or the things that we create or attract into our life, that it's 3 steps. And the first step is our thought. And so here you just nailed it on the head. It's our thought and what we're thinking about. The second step, by the way, is then they call it energy. So thought creates energy, which is really our emotion, okay? And then that emotion, that energy creates matter, or our experiences there. So your mindset on starting out by saying the most important thing is mindset, it really is all about that. So can you tell us a little bit more on the mindset? It sounds like to really, first of all, understand there's different personalities out there, there's different values out there, and how to match that. So can you tell us more about that and that mindset that we need to be understanding, and that knowledge?
Absolutely. I mean, I you know, it's I like going back to the idea of art and science. And in real estate, I think it's easy to think that we're in an industry that still is predominantly relying on our art, right? Our ability to connect with others and network and all, you know, our personal artistry and what we do. And I mean, I believe in that. My business is a labor of love. I don't hide that. You know, my heart is completely in it. It's an expression of myself. So I believe in artistry. But in our
I love that. I love that, having heart. Yeah.
You have your heart in it, you feel alive, you have positive energy, right? I'd like to believe. But I think the side that sometimes we can, in my experience, sometimes agents can put, you know, resist a little bit, is that science side of it, of, you know, we have these great reasons for why we do things the way we do, but the best reasons always have results. And it's easy to look and say, well, I do it this way because I believe in X. I think the most powerful systems in science align the reasons, the belief, and the results. So how can we take a system that actually is quantifiable, that we can measure it, that we know has results, and how can I align it with my heart, my mind, my being, so I truly am a powerhouse? Because it's one thing to have a script, it's one thing to have a presentation, to believe in it to the core of your being and show up with that level of congruence, that's when you're a powerhouse. That's when you get on the phone and you know exactly what you're aligning towards, and you can do it in a consultant's approach where I'm not pushing, I'm not selling, I'm not putting you in a corner. I don't need to do that because I know my value, I know what I want to offer to you based on what you need. I want to follow your needs, your wants, and have a set approach that allows me to have predictably much higher results. And I mean, our systems, we have the numbers across thousands of agents, hundreds of top producing teams using them. So I know exactly the benchmarks. And I think that that's key. You can have 10 systems and know all of them at 50%. And guess what? You're probably going to get 10, 20% of the capability of those systems. Or you can say, I'm going to plug into something that works, something that has results. I'm going to understand the intellectual property that's available to me here, instead of taking 10 years to figure it out, research and development, I'm going to acknowledge we're in the era of wisdom. I need to plug in to what people know, right, and duplicate it and learn it at a mastery level. So I believe conversion is a mastery game. I do not believe you can have 10 things and do a little piece of each of them, not where the top results are happening anyways. So, you know it in your sleep. And I always say, hey, knock on wood, hopefully, like my mind is good. But one day, like if it wasn't, who knows what scripts I'd be rhyming off, because I definitely.
Yeah, well, I just love on where you've now introduced this idea of heart, and then also this to be powerful. And we are each powerful, magnificent creators. And it's all getting into that belief, and it's where our thoughts are. And so we can either think, oh, this is tough, or it's not going to be good for me. That just takes us down what I call a slimy green pit and into what we don't want. Where you started that energy, and as you were talking about, getting powerful and everything, that energy already just hyped me up. I could feel your energy coming across the channel here, and for everybody else. So tell us more. Tell us more on what. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, to go into the conversion side. I mean, the energy, I think, comes from having that again, that intent on, when I'm on the phone, what am I trying to accomplish? When I meet with a new client, what am I trying to accomplish? And having a lot of that gray zone that we waste energy on. When we talk about spinning wheels, I always say there's three positions for us in real estate, and my company is very aligned in one position, and if you're gravitating another way, that's fine. There's no judgment on two of them. There's judgment on one. So I say there's a spectrum, right? So on one side of the spectrum, we have that traditional kind of epitome of what the public sees as sales. And, whether we adopt sales as powerful or positive or not is irrelevant in this example. It's the idea of when the public, from a very young age is taught about people who are pushing or selling or manipulating. I mean, it's across cartoons and Disney and literature and whatnot. There's this idea of the salesperson always in the shadows and not trusted and kind of slimy, right? So we have that traditional, like, high pressure approach, manipulative sales techniques. On the other side of the spectrum, we have that consultant who says, I believe people are good. I believe people are intelligent. I believe people will make the right decisions for themselves and their family. And that allows me to not need to be pushy or manipulative, because all I need to do is educate, but I need to do it really well. I need to understand my craft at the highest level so that I can adapt communication. I can say things differently, and I can stay out of my own head. Oh, we're talking about mindset, but stay out of my own head, because I know where I'm trying to go. So it's all about the client. The dangerous spot, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, but is that person in the middle, right? Like, they're constantly playing out. They're on the phone and they're listening, and in their head, like, what do I do next? What do I say next? Am I being too pushy? Maybe I should follow up. I don't know. They don't have their intention aligned with what they're giving attention to, right? Their words, their energy, their thoughts. And that, to me, is the most dangerous spot right now in real estate, because you have people, I'm in the team world. So the team world, it's like, we're trying to synthesize values, culture, communication, and give the best of the best in record time to new people coming into our environments. We can't really afford to be spending our energy second guessing what to do next. Like, we're just 10 steps behind. And we all do it sometimes, like there's times I come off a stage and I'm like, oh, should I have said it that way? Great. But on the phone, like with clients, if I'm at a listing presentation and I'm going, oh my gosh, should I have worn this dress? Maybe I should have worn black. Maybe I should have worn whatever, right? Like, maybe I'm too aggressive. I'm already out of the game. I'm not effective.
Yeah, and part of that, like, for example, I share with people that, like, when you think you have a bad hair day, there's only one person in the whole wide world that knows you have a bad hair day, and it's you. And half the other people are thinking they have bad hair days, so it's really not about you. But you introduced a concept here that really is, to me, the foundation of mindset. And that is to pre-pave, what I call pre-pave. It's kind of like a road. And so if you're going to give a talk, if you're going to be on the phone, if you're going to meet with a client, that I think of this idea of just pre-paving this road and then that conversation. And so what I like to do is to teach you be general on this, that in other words, you don't say, oh, let's say it's a listing presentation. This listing presentation, they're going to say yes and sign the contract. That's too specific. Instead, it's that we're going to just have a wonderful time. It's going to be great. I'm going to look so professional, and they're going to really enjoy me, and we're going to laugh and smile and just enjoy each other. And as we do that and prepave it the way we want it, then we can rely on what I call the universe, God, whatever name you want to do, where the Father does the work. And so literally gives us the ideas and the thoughts and the perfect words that just flow out of our mouth like a mountain stream when we're in the middle of that. And so do you like is that kind of the pre-paving that you were talking about, to kind of say what you want, how you want it to be before you even get there?
Well, sure, because just like you said, I mean, the research fully supports that. I mean, how we're feeling and thinking is literally having a chemical reaction. Like our physiology is reacting to what we're thinking about. So yeah, setting the tone beforehand. Like I never went on a listing presentation that I did not do some method of visualization. Like even if it was just a little bit on the card because I was appointment to appointment, I would always take that moment to do a reset. And to me, that's very similar as pre-paving. You know, how is it going to go? What is the feeling, right? Like, how am I approaching it? What's the tonality? How are they going to respond? Because we're actually much more involved in creating that atmosphere than some give ourselves credit for. So having that side of it, and then having the confidence, to get out of the way and you know, trust, have faith that things will roll out in their best capacity. I agree completely.
Yes, and that we are the creators of our experience. So you're right. You know, not only are we kind of part of it, that we literally create our experience, and so everything that comes to us, it's based on what our thoughts are, and we attract it into our experience. And so for us to be able to really have that mindset, to take the time, and normally, by the way, it takes about a minute to like visualize and to really get that energy going. And so so I want to, make sure that everybody understands it's not like, okay, this is going to go well, and I get out of the car. That, it's more about just really getting into the feeling and just imagining how wonderful it is. And of course, then you teach the specifics and actually, do you do scripts then on a call and how to do that? Can you tell us a little about that?
Absolutely. Like, there's again a spectrum of everything. Like I work a lot with teams doing onboarding. So onboarding would be, one side of the spectrum, right? Where you're brand new in a team environment or you're brand new in a brokerage. I mean, we do full online training in person, all of that fun stuff, right? Which I love. Yeah. So the full, hey, what do we need just to get up and going? Because our industry is changing. Like I work with several brokers now who with online leads, for example, that's something that we work a lot with. The mentality is very different with online leads, as we know, than, with repeat and referral or kind of the old school face-to-face approach. So, now we actually have systems where it's like you have to learn level 1 and level 2 before you get an online lead, because the results are night and day, right? So what are the things we know and understand so that we actually can nurture online business instead of thinking that, they're low quality leads or they're tire kickers or, they're just a waste of time, or the agents who say, hey, I'll put them on a search, and if I still get 1% by doing next to nothing, I'm happy. You don't know what you don't know, right? So there's that, and there's the continuous. So we would do a full basic script training before somebody came, ideally in a team environment or in a brokerage environment where they had to qualify to get those leads, and qualify. I know some agents are like, I don't want to qualify to get leads, but you do because the broker's doing it because they get more of a return, and so do you, and they want to support you being successful. So I'm always like, no, it's amazing when they do that because they know you're going to get more from it, at least the ones that I've worked with.
Right.
And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have like inside sales agents, and I mean, there are masters of scripting. So they'll have all their core components, and it is scripted. There's certain things that we say on the phone that we memorize, that we fully take in. And I mean, I expect, hey, if I give you something to memorize, like a buyer value proposition, okay? So buyer value proposition is designed that is if somebody's within a certain period of time and they want to buy first, or they don't know what they want to do first. They're like, I don't know, should I list first, buy first? I need to research, I need to get out there. It's designed for those people to say yes. That's why it's worded. I always say to people, if you could have the perfect exact wording that was designed, and 99% of the people that you potentially want to be with would say yes. Would you learn it? They say yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, then why haven't you memorized the script?
Yeah. And that memorization, that, it's also to internalize that, one thing is to memorize it, but then just have it start flowing off your tongue, and to say that, and have that mental insight. I have several lead programs, and like one lead program is very effective. It closes about 1 out of 5 leads, and they're basically on Facebook leads. And one of the problems, though, the challenges that we've had is to be able to take those leads and convert them. And one thing that I have found effective, and wanted to get your opinion on it, is that I have the agents call, text, and then email every day until they hear back from them, because people think they are busy, if you will, and so thus they become busy and busier, and so because of that, they really just, people have other stuff going on, and so it's not bothersome for that. And so, any thoughts about, should you hit them that often, or and then when you do you have a script, like for a text, for a call, and even, I guess, a voicemail, and then email?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Wow.
Our numbers are, we still see that our best conversion happens on the phone, which, I mean, is good. It's problematic because we know that, people more and more don't want to answer the phones, and they don't have home phones, and they're editing who they pick up the phone for. But in the end, getting people on the phone is where our best conversion still happens. Once they're a client, it's different. We know that, right? Like, I've got clients, Facebook, me, LinkedIn, who knows? Like, those messages pop up everywhere, and that's fine. But yeah, I think, I think you said the key thing, internalizing. People get a script, they try to kind of memorize it, they don't feel comfortable with it, so they don't want to use it, they don't believe in it. For me, like, to use a script, you need to understand the why behind it and how it plays out. Like, how does this play out for the consumer, right? When they're too busy to meet with an agent, but they've lost out on 3 houses, and they're so annoyed, and they think all the agents are, hiding things. How does this play out for them versus somebody working with them? Now we approach I'm too busy a bit differently, but yeah, we have, the key I always say is, okay, learn the script, and I expect it's going to be choppy when it's memorized. It's going to sound robotic. It won't sound great. The next week, okay, now it should flow. Now you want to have, it's like, I say, it's like a song. There's a rhythm to great scripting. You internalize the song, right?
Yeah, love that.
But yeah, the only thing I would say that our experience, like inside sales, for them, I find it, you have to be, in my experience, my tracking, much more careful about how long leads stay on their plate, because, I mean, they're on the phones all day long. So it will really bottleneck them if they don't know when it's okay to say you've done enough, right? When is it okay that, like, strategically, you're not going to get as much results now, whereas we'd start neglecting other opportunities. When do we do that? But you want an approach for the phone, for text, for email, because you want your energy to be connecting with that person. And that's the thing to forget. If I internalize the science, all my focus is on the relationship and the person, because I already have the science down. But if I'm only focused on the person, I don't have the science, I might not have enough clients to stay in the business or hit my goals, right?
Right. That's fantastic. And then tell me, so you're talking about ISAs, and so inside sales agents, and basically are just on the phone. And then do you hand those off then to an agent then? Is that how your system works then on this that you teach?
Yeah, if they're a certain level of team, like typically I've had some brokerages put inside sales in place. And I mean, right now, as everything else, I mean, technology has been taking off for a long time in real estate. That's nothing new. But in the inside sales department, it's coming to the forefront of technology companies and companies trying to, automate this service for individual agents, which is really interesting to me, because for a team, it's always a certain level of, it's our next level of leverage. For us, it's a level 4. In team expansion, that probably doesn't mean anything to anyone at home, but there's a certain place where your business is strong enough to sustain in an inside sales. So they would book, a face-to-face appointment for a sales agent typically on a team, potentially a brokerage.
Okay, good. And so then we're talking a little about teams, and so I think do you want to just summarize for us on, so the keys then to convert into leads is, what would you say is the key then?
The key to convert leads overall?
Yeah, to convert leads into clients, well, how would you? What are the main takeaways that we should get from that? Because I want to move to the team in a minute.
Yeah, well, which is fun. I mean, the systems we work with teams, we work with individual agents. Right? The key is having a strong sales system and understanding the funnel of it. And if your values are relationship based, sometimes that's hard because we don't relate to it. We're like, I don't relate to, the sifting and sorting of systems and or of leads, sorry, because they're relationships, they're people, and I think you need the best of both worlds. So to me, to have a strong conversion, you need the ability mentally to go, how do I sift and sort quickly? What do I use a database to extend my brain and not think about those people? Because we all have a limited capacity. I don't like to think about it. I like to lie and pretend, I have unlimited mental capacity. Certainly nowhere near true. I don't know about
You're funny, Kathleen.
Right? So, I need to make sure I'm filling my brain with the most important parts. And if I'm filling it with people that I've been talking to for 4 months that might give me a listing appointment in 2 months from now, I'm filling it with the wrong opportunities. I don't have a chance to build to where I want to. So the key to conversion is, how do I have a step-by-step system to sift and sort who should have my energy and attention and when, and to put a ton of that mental processing capacity in the database and trust it. Set it up so you can trust it. Have your notes. Make sure it's organized so you can get on there and just dial. You already know what to say. We're taking all that extra energy out exponentially for your entire career if you have that approach, right?
Wow, tremendous, just tremendous. And to use that energy in the most focused and what I call high payoff activity way. And so to put it in those high payoff activities. And so how would we, so like if I'm interested in that system, how do I get a hold of you in order to understand as far as converting leads into clients?
Yeah, we have a couple options. We have a fantastic online training program, and because of my insistence on coaching style and mastery, it's not like 45-minute light training. Like each level is 9 sessions. They're 2 to 3 hours each. Like it emulates our onboarding process, so it's pretty in depth. Our website is there's 2, but I'll give you the easy one to remember. So www.kathleenspeaks.com, and you can, we do one-on-one coaching consultations all the time, totally complimentary with connecting.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Now, I know besides being an expert on taking these leads and converting them into clients, that I know you're also an expert in building teams, and I think probably we have a lot of people that agents on right now, or even brokers that, they maybe don't have any team. And can you kind of start with us and give us some thoughts behind how do you build a team and how does that work for you?
Well, there's how do you build a team? I mean, it depends on what type. It's a great question. It depends on what type of a business and structure you want to have, right? And at the end of the day, do you want to be a coach? Do you want to be a trainer? Do you want to be a motivator? Do you want to be a rainmaker? Because your team is going to be based on your value proposition. So most of the time at those initial stages, I recommend flipping it and going, what do I want to give? Right? What do I want to give? So if somebody was interested in joining my team, why would they want to work with me? Right? Flip it. Beautiful. Because it's about what you're giving in a team environment and what you're willing to invest in. And I'm the first one to say team building can be messy. It's not glamorous, right? It's not. Like you see so many of these big teams that, will go to events because they're kind of like, okay, we've already built our team. We specialize in the messy part of building with you. I have a fascination and, I love working with people who have a vision and like, I'm going to put it in place. I'm committed. Like we just live for that. So for us, we kind of say, hey, we know our clients are jumping off a cliff and we're saying we've jumped many times. We're going to jump with you. We're cool with it. Well, it's confusing because there's a lot of team building coaching companies, but they say, well, we're not going to coach with you until you're at, 1 million, 1.3 million. Well, that's when all the hard work's done. Like, well, like, they don't need you then. Like they do, but not the same, right? So no, we're happy to help people figure out, what role do they want in the team? Who do they need around them to offset maybe their personality, their skill set? Maybe they need other strengths, and we all do. Really, at the end of the day, we all do. It's just whether we know it or not. So Yeah, like for us, we look to expand, make a really strong foundation in the individual business, like strong conversion, duplicatable systems, the ability to at least have some lead sources that you could turn up or turn down, and
Uh-huh.
understanding of your economic model. The models that are, this is one place where Canada and US, it has a divide in team building. Like we see much more of the mega team that's more of a brokerage style in the US, where,
Uh-huh.
it's a split base, like it's a very smaller split coming to the team. If there's some leads from the team, it's a bit of a different split. Our team model is very much more a hub, where we're leveraging unique abilities. It's much more tight knit. We're trying to put the licensed agent and their time on a platform and elevate it as much as possible, so they can leverage the team where they're doing less and less and less of the things that they don't love, that they're not great at, that we have other
Yeah.
people or specialists who are doing it, and therefore they're paid for that part of it. And if anyone's watching this, I mean, I would say, there's three top errors or mistakes that people make in team building. And number one, it's in compensation. They don't set up their
Mhm.
compensation to get paid as a team leader. And a team leader has a long job description. It's a good one. It's just a long one.
Yeah.
That training and recruitment, right? Onboarding,
Uh,
training, and value proposition for recruitment. So, I mean, there's so much that goes into building a team. And yeah, I'd start with, why do you want one? Right?
yeah.
It's
Right.
yeah, it's competitive now with team building, and a lot of the, like 5, 6 years ago, our people who are trying to build teams are now really in an organizational business model, and they are set to expand, and they are. And that's where these multi-location teams are much more prevalent and all of that fun stuff. They did the
Right.
groundwork, right?
All right, right. And so it kind of sounds to me like Canada's a little ahead of the game because of this hub concept. And so do you think that that is something that really can add value more to the US and the teams on looking at this hub and understanding the value that each person gets out of it?
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, I mean, I have huge respect for the teams in the US and the models, and it's
Sure.
amazing, like massive respect for it. And some
Yeah.
are operating as hubs. It's just not as prevalent. Like, I just want to make sure I don't miscommunicate that. But yeah, I think there's always something to be learned. And I think the changing, if you believe in the changing economic models into more of a knowledge era or Gamera. And again, there's some differences, right, in Canada and the US and our verbiage and what resonates. And there's some slight
Yeah.
differences there.
Sure.
But if you believe in that, you understand it. I mean, there's a reason why the teams are getting stronger results, because they do have more minimum standards, they have more training, they have more expectations on return, and it just tightens everything up a little bit, right? So,
Right.
yeah, there are some more controls in place in a hub style
Uh-huh.
team, but they're also investing massively into the people within their platforms, and they're providing, in my opinion, levels of service and experience that an individual agent can't touch. And I know that's hard, and I know that's a polarizing statement, and I know a lot of your audience are probably, some operating independently, or maybe they're leveraging the brokerage and technology and they're not independent at all, right?
Right.
Um, but you can't be 10 people. I can't
Right.
be 10 people. I can't have the marketing budget of 6 agents who are pooling their resources. I can't be a specialist in all the new technology and marketing, because I have other things that I need to be doing to fuel my business. And the teams bring a really competitive platform in understanding the leverage, right?
That right. And so do you primarily help like with agent that is saying, hey, I'd like to build a team now, or are there different stages, or where do you like, what's your sweet part space that you like to help agents with as far as teams are concerned?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have many coaches in our company, and they all have different people they, like you said, sweet spot, right? That they love to work with. And
Yeah.
we've had tremendous success in building from scratch. So individual agents who understand, hey, I want to build my individual business on a team platform. So when I get to the point of expanding, I can, and I don't have to rip things out and go backwards. And there's more and more of an understanding of that, of, hey, I want to invest in these systems now, even though it's a little bit harder than just going out and running with it, because 3 years from now, when I'm super busy, it's going to cost money, time, energy, and it's going to
Right.
feel painful to go back. So
Yeah.
we both. I mean, personally, I love working, like 80% of our team coaching clients are top 1% nationally. I love working with those people.
Wow.
But it's like our overall as a company, no, I love working with people who are committed and they know where they're going, and they're basically saying, yeah, guess what? Like I'm like, I always say, I'm like, you need to be so clear on where you're going that you're almost saying, like, listen, I know where I'm going. I want you on board, but if not, like, a little bit move over, get out of my way, because I'm so committed. Knock me down 10 times, I'm getting up 20, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that pointed desire that you're talking about, having that desire and that pointed focus, and the way to get that focus is to simply ask and to say, hey, what do I want? And then to start getting clarity on what you want, and how you know what you really want is when you really feel good about it. And I can just tell, Kathleen, that you help people feel good. And can you share just a little on your successes that you've had? Like you shared, was it 80% of the people that you work with, the team?
Yeah, 80% of our team level coaching clients are top 1% nationally. So we're very proud of that, in their respective brands and whatnot. But yeah, absolutely. Wow. So yeah, we're extremely proud of that.
That's incredible. And then can you tell us about results on converting prospects into clients, that what kind of results or what kind of businesses, how have agents grown their business using your systems?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would think one thing, like I'm always of the mindset of being conservative, and that's kind of an odd stance for the industry that I'm in, right? But I always do, like when it comes to budgeting, conversion, everything. So all of our conversion numbers are based off of, cold, high volume, pay-per-click leads. So I have clients who have much warmer lead sources and mix in, but we always say, if you're getting at least this with your coldest lead sources, we know that we're good. So just as a little example, I mean, if somebody's learning our buyer consultation, if they come into the office and sit face-to-face, on average, 80% of the people who come into the office, or we go to their house, whatever, like, it's fine. We're going to convert to an actual exclusivity agreement. That sounds, if you're in the repeat referral business, that sounds like, well, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't 80% of people want to work with me? But if you start to expand your business into actual lead generation marketing, and you start to develop that science of conversion, our top people are 96, 98%. So when you sit down in front of them, they're going to sign that many people. Like, for example, when I stopped selling because I was running my prior coaching company, and it required a lot of my energy. So when I stopped selling full time, I mean, at that point, I had 86 active buyer representation agreements, and people hear that and they're like, how's that even possible? But because when you understand the numbers and you have the formula, you can make even the coldest sources extremely valuable to your business, right? So we know that only about 50% of exclusive buyers that we get will actually purchase within 12 months. Some will purchase 18 months, 24 months, and people are like, oh my gosh, 50%. But again, when you understand these numbers and you understand how they actually play out, when I plug the same numbers into a business plan for somebody who doesn't use a buyer consultation, doesn't create expectation, doesn't, future pace what the experience is going to look like, we actually calculate that they need 3 times more leads and opportunities than somebody using our system based on the tracking. But for an agent, they're like, but I want to run out and show the house and I just want to meet with everybody. But when you look at the numbers, it doesn't actually play out as well as it sometimes feels, right?
Wow. Right. And that is just incredible. And you're incredible, Kathleen. That, again, so to get a hold of you, it would be Kathleen.
www.kathleenspeaks.com.
Okay, and speaks as in speaker, and she's a speaker as well, and just an amazing coach, and really has the ability to take any agent and raise them to a new level, and then also to take you and raise you to a new level where you have a team, and what that equates to is more money and more time. And most people I either have a lot of time and not enough money, which is a bad place to be in, or they have a lot of money but not enough time because they're doing it. And this is a way to really have some balance in your life. And I thank you so much. Any closing comments, Kathleen, before we say goodbye to our beautiful audience?
No, just thank you. I really appreciated being here. I had a great time. And I guess the only thing, if anybody's looking to plug in with us, is we run Ultimate Team Summit in November. It's in the Niagara Falls area. And at least in Canada, it's the largest team-specific real estate summit just for teams. So yeah, if you're looking to, love to see anyone out there. And other than that, just thank you. I've had a great time. I really appreciated it.
Oh, well, thank you, Kathleen. You're amazing. And I just love on how you serve the world and help agents and brokers become their greatest possibility. And so this is Dr. Hank saying goodbye for Agent Wealth Network, where we increase your wealth and increase your business. All the best. God bless. Bye-bye.